Kelly shaping the world. Lillian drops wisdom, helping minds unfurl. Business plots brewing, chaos ain't no sin. Tune into the mayhem, let the fun begin. Mics, moms, and mayhem, chaos in the street. Business plans and laughter, living out the dream. Real talk, real moments, endless fun on air. Join Lillian and Kelly if you truly dare.
Friend,
What?
I have a confession to make.
Oh God.
My son may or may not be living off of Cheez-Its and Takis.
And candy.
No, because that would be bad for his teeth.
That would be my child.
That would be bad for his teeth.
That would be my
So,
child.
listen, that's what we're talking about today. We are talking about the myth, the unmitigated gall, the hullabaloo, which is this made up fictional concept of mom guilt. And we're going to talk about why mom guilt is not only of the devil, but it is also a liar. So we are going to talk about why
Well,
we
you
need,
have to convince me.
let's do it. We're going to talk about why we as mothers need to let go of unrealistic expectations. Okay? Why do we always feel like we're failing even when we're doing our best? So let's talk about it.
Yeah,
Let's
this
talk
gonna
about it,
be a
friend.
rough podcast for me.
You know what I feel like you should do? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this is destiny. I feel like you should I feel like you should share with the audience the book that I just bought you. Because maybe someone too needs this book. Does it just happen to be right next to you?
Of course it is, because where else would it be? Because I don't read, like I told you. So let me just preface this before I share this book. So my wonderful sister over here, wherever she is, that way, she says, Kelly, I think I found the book for you. I don't read. I feel that you would read. I feel like you would read this book. Is it on Kindle or is it on book read or something? I feel that you need to feel the book, hold the book, turn the pages. I will not read the book. So a couple of days pass, and she says, remember I told you I got a book for you? Da-da-da? Yes. So I roll my eyes just like that, because I don't read, and I don't. My children growing up, I read to them. We all know how to read. I don't like to read. But my wonderful friend right here says, this is the book for you. And I think this is perfect for this specific podcast. So my wonderful friend gifts me with this book. What does it say? There are moms way worse than you. When I tell you, this was hilarious. Not only that, let's now look at the illustration that it now provides.
Which
The
is my favorite
giraffe,
part.
correct. Right. And this is what you really pointed out. The giraffe kicking the
No,
baby.
they're not kicking the baby. They are yeeting the baby across the Serengeti. And I think that is just poetic. I think it's relevant. And I think it's something you needed to see. What I want you to what I really want you to hone in on is the subtitle on the book. Irrefutable proof that you are indeed a fantastic parent.
This podcast is about to be. So now that we have shout out the book, let's shout out the author, Glenn Boozin, and the illustrator, which I believe is hilarious, just by perusing the pages thus far. Priscilla Witt, a White, you are wonderful, ma'am.
Girl.
All
And
right, let's get
and
into
the
this.
fact that your baby found the book. And I saw her pick it up and I said nothing. And a few minutes later, she came back and was like, whoa.
She said, "This is a lot of cuss words." Your response was, "You're welcome."
No, my response was, it's not because it's not for you. Put it down. But also, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Woo! All right, let's start this
Let's
because this
do
right
it. Let's talk
here,
about it.
I'm gonna need
So,
you're definitely gonna have to convince me that it's a myth, it's a liar, because this is what I possess daily.
so Mom Guilt is a liar. And today we're going to break down where it comes from, how to shut it down, and why we should not fall victim to that mentality of perfection is look, perfectionism is mom. It's not a thing. Here's a quick stat. 80% of moms experience mom guilt on a regular basis. This is based on a survey of working parents as of 2024. And let's just break this down for a second. So let's talk about where it actually comes from. So, at its central origins, this expectation of perfection in motherhood comes from social expectations, right? If we go back to look at gender roles and gender expectations, societal expectations, women have to shoulder a lot of the load. And so it has become this unrealistic, unattainable, impossible standard of being a quote unquote perfect mother. Because here's the truth, sis. Never have I ever heard a podcast, seen a Pinterest post, seen a YouTube feed trying to convince a dad that they are a
Hmm.
good dad.
Hmm.
Nowhere in this conversation is there a quote about dad guilt, right?
Hmm.
So, why is it that mothers feel like we have to be perfect? Why?
We have to be.
We do not, first of all, the idea of perfection is a myth. Perfect does not exist. Even bleach is only 99.9% effective.
Girl, you have put in bleach in this illustration.
Listen, because don't we
Oh my,
all, do we all not trust bleach? Do we all not
we
trust
absolutely do.
bleach with
Absolutely.
everything we have?
Everything.
With
Everything.
all
Yes.
the things. And
Yes.
even it can't be 100%, right?
Yes.
So we
Okay.
have to give ourselves grace. We have to understand that there's unrealistic social expectations, but there's also this horribly biased social media presence that would lead us to believe that Pinterest perfect moms are the standard we should all attain to. And one of the things I've said in my class a lot, Pinterest is the devil, right? Social media for a large portion is the devil, right? Because what it does is it gives you this snapshot of someone on their best day, on
Absolutely.
their best moment, in their best situation. Even if it's at their worst, they're
Yes.
still framing it in a very specific and biased way. And so
Yes.
we have, as mothers, have to be careful that we're not believing the hype. I found myself in that place too a few years ago. And this is one of the reasons why I ended up, one of many reasons, but one very strong reason as to why I ended up getting a Cricut machine, because I was all on Pinterest looking at how people were, I was into planning and stickers and organizing their lives. And
Yes.
I found myself, once I got the Cricut, I wanted to label everything and I needed new containers for everything. And it had to be this way. And this is like me being very transparent, sis. Like there was a day when I went to my hubs and I was like, Hubs, I'm not doing enough. Like
Yeah.
I am. He was like, what do you mean? And I was like, look at what these women are doing. And he looked at it and he was so disgusted, first of all.
Hmm.
And he looked
Hmm.
at me with this face of disgust and he goes, seriously? You literally have a job. And I was like, yeah. He was like, you have things to do. He was like, that's not real. And I heard that and I received that, right? But it didn't matter because I still was going to buy, listen, chalk labels, sign me up. Mason jars, I need a case. Clear containers, I'm going to Ross to buy them. And I was doing all this stuff. And one day my older son caught me in the kitchen. I had went to TJ Maxx and Ross and I bought these containers and I was taking my eggs out of the carton and I was putting them in this container so that I could put them in the fridge. And he looks at me legit goes, so you're going to take them out of one container
Put them in another.
and put them in another container. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, but they already come in a container. Why can't you just leave them in that container? And when I
Right.
tell you, It was almost like a
Like
Matrix
that.
Revolution moment.
Right.
I remember he said that, and I just stopped, and I looked at him, and I think at some point I said, I need help, go get daddy. Because it was like getting the Matrix Revolution revelation moment. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have lost my damn mind. But
Yeah.
I was striving towards this idealistic level of perfection that did not exist. And I was giving, girl, the number of trips I've had to take to Goodwill to get rid of all the things.
That is sad.
And when I come up, they be like, hey, Miss Lillian, don't you do that, Joe. Don't call me out, Joe. Just take this stuff out the trunk. Cause my gosh, right? I had to stop. I had to do what makes sense for me and my family, right? And guess what? We don't live anywhere near perfect. No one does. And so we have to stop with that pressure based off of what we're seeing other people do in their lives, right? Because no two families are equal. So we cannot compare ourselves to the Pinterest moms, to the YouTube moms, right? There's girl, and I'm gonna segue off of that and talk about this idea about the trad wife. Have you seen this whole thing about the trad wife, which is basically like this traditional wife standard that we should all subscribe to? So this idea that the man works, the woman takes care of the home, right? And some women are taking this thing so far. Like I see one lady who's, my baby wanted a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, so I'm gonna make it today. I started by proofing the yeast, right? And then she
I
makes the bread.
saw her. Yes. I saw, yeah, now that is a bit. But let me interject if I can, because it
You
still continues with this family and cultural expectations based off of what we saw as growing up, because my mom was Superwoman. My mom was the wife. My mom was the mom. My mom was also a first lady, so she was a
Mm.
pastor's wife. My mom worked. My mom also had a side business. She worked with, had a business with a neighbor friend. And my mom was the choir director. My mom was the program organizer. My mom did everything, and she did it, to me, would seem as ease. That is all I knew how to do and how to be growing up. I don't think it was an aspiration, but I do believe that it was just what I saw. So I figured I had to do the same. So when I got married and when we had children, I had to do all things. Now, some of that was because my husband also worked 2 or 3 jobs just so we can make ends meet, because my husband was a workaholic. So I had to do it. I had babies and I was there. He wasn't there for a lot of those nighttime feedings for our second child. And so I had to do it. And I had to, at that time, I had 2 babies to take care of and all of that. But that's what I knew, and that's what I thought and I felt I had to do. And then as time went on, I began to get tired. I began to get weary. I began to get
Heavy laden. You were heavy laden.
laden and
Yeah.
burdened for sure. But then our lives took a nosedive because my husband got sick. He became ill and he became disabled. And he became where I now no longer, or in addition to taking care of my kids, I now had to take care of him. In my brain, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. But in the midst of, I lost my way with my kids. I lost my way of me and all of that. There is, and I tried not to complain because, again, that's all I saw. That's all I knew how to be. So, how do I move from that? And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have the same story, that have the same guilt. And I know you all out there are thinking, no, it's real. It's real. No, nobody can convince me that it's a myth. It's a liar. So you tell me, Miss Life Coach, how do we change that when we are put in those different positions? Because It's out there.
Yeah.
That guilt is real.
It's real, but here's the thing, it's self-imposed. And so that's where the change has to start. It has to start with the mindset shift. We have to, the biggest thing that I think moms have to remember is to afford ourselves the grace and mercy that we so freely give to other people. We have got to have that amount of grace, if not more, for ourselves. I was telling one of our mutual coworkers the other day. She was sharing something with me that was along these lines, but what made it more traumatic and impactful in her life was that the work that she's doing is for a ministry group that's a Christian ministry group. And I told her, I said, this is not a good thing for you. And the fact that it's wrapped in Jesus's name doesn't mean it's going to be any better. And so I was having this conversation with her and I told her, I said, what you are trying to do is pour from an empty vessel. And I think that's a pretty good analogy that we can all resonate with. But let me
Yes.
take a step further, because what I told her was, not only are you trying to pour from an empty vessel, you have in your mind that as soon as I get anything poured into my vessel, then I have something that I can now pour into someone else.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
explaining to her that's not how it works. The expectation should never be, as soon as someone pours into me, I can then pour into
Well,
someone else. The
yeah.
expectation for yourself should be, I have to be full. Because, and I had to learn this too, I don't serve you from what is poured into me. I
Hmm.
serve others from the overflow of my vessel, right?
Wow.
And I want you to hear that, right? I am not pouring into you at the detriment of emptying my own vessel. I make sure my vessel is full and overflowing, and then I serve you from the overflow. So, in doing that, I will never be depleted. So if
Hmm.
you find yourself in a situation where you pouring into other people depletes you, you're not full enough and you are not in a place where you can pour into someone. And so where mom guilt comes into that is us having that moment, that realization to say, I am not in a place where I can pour you into you at this time. I need to take a step back and I need to make sure my vessel is full and overflowing, and then I can service you from that overflow. So it's a conscious decision as a mom that we have to make to say, I will no longer pour into others, even if that's my children, even if
Hmm.
that's my church, even if
Hmm.
that's my job, even if that's my relationship, even if that's my parent. I will not pour into you at the detriment of me. Because here's the part nobody really thinks about. Once my vessel is empty and I
Yeah.
am now in a deficit,
You can't pour.
nothing else happens because you're all depending on me. And it's more detrimental almost, right? For my vessel to be empty, right? Because and I tell my students this all the time, right? When I'm at work, I'm Dr. Williams. I'm phenomenal. I'm fabulous, right? When I get home, they don't care.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like, okay, that's cute. We eating chicken strips or nah? Did you bring home something? Did you
Oh,
go
my
pick up
chicken
my
nuggets.
Takis? No, girl, the last few days it has been blue Takis. I need my blue Takis. And God forbid, because this actually happened to me once. I went by Dollar General and I got all the things and walked right past them damn Takis and came home, and the disappointment, it negated every,
Devastation.
when I say it
Devastation.
negated any other good thing I had ever
Oh,
done as a parent,
yeah. Yeah.
because how dare you not think
Yeah.
about me? And so it's a mind shift, it's a mindset shift that we have to consciously say, I have to, in order for me to be the best mother that I can be, in order for me to be the best spouse that I can be, the best daughter that I can be, the best whatever version of me that I can be, I have to have a full vessel. And so it's up to us as mothers to understand that we cannot pour from what we don't have. And also, I want you to hear something that you said while you're thinking about this, because it sounds like, yeah, that's easier said than done. But think about you said it yourself. I saw my mom do it and I thought that's just what I was supposed to do. Now you have a daughter who's looking at you and she's going to be saying, this is what I saw my mama do. Is that
Yeah.
really what you want her to do? Do you want to teach her to give of yourself at the detriment of yourself? Absolutely not. We don't want that for our sons either, right? So we have to be
Mhm.
cognizant of the lessons that we are reinforcing through our behaviors. So it starts with a mindset shift, and we have to get out of that idea of perfection. And also, one of the things, and I speak about this every year when I go to Atlanta, but one of the things that I can remember being this little girl, and we used to, this is look pre-COVID, and we used to fly everywhere.
Mhm.
And nobody thought of anything, right? We didn't have all these rules, but I remember sitting next to my parents as a little kid, a selfish ass, egocentric little kid, right? Sitting there and listening to the whole, these are where the exits are, right? If anything happens, this thing will fall down. If you're with a child, put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on the child. I'm sorry, mother, what? Save me first, right? I never understood
Yeah.
why she needed to save herself first. It was a selfish, very egotistical standpoint.
Yeah.
Now that I am a mother and I'm adult, I get it. I can't
Yeah.
save you. Mommy can't save you if mommy don't make it. So
Yeah.
mommy has to make sure I put the oxygen mask on myself first before I can then tend to my children, right? Because what I don't want to happen is I ruin and destroy myself. Now, who's going to take care of my babies? Now,
Yeah.
who's going to take care of my home, right? So, we have to be very intentional about self care and pouring into ourselves. So, I think that's the first step is to just get into this mindset shift of understanding perfection is a myth. It is
Mm.
of the devil. Ain't no truth in it. So stop telling yourself these lies. Stop with the I'm not doing good enough. You're doing just fine. One thing my mom has started saying way in her late age, because I was like, gosh, I wish you'd have been my mom when now, like back then. But you can only do the best you can with what you know
With
and
what
have
you
at the time.
have. Yeah.
Period. Look, full stop. And so you
Yeah.
have to stop saying you're not good enough. You are good
Mm.
enough. You are worthy. You are enough just as you are. I should be able to balance everything. Who does that? No one, right? You can only juggle so many balls before one of them will start to fall. When you are splitting your attention on every little thing, something doesn't get your full attention. And that's the thing that sometimes falls through the cracks with our kids, right? Or with our spouses or with even with our own parents. We're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that, right? That's the ball falling because I'm focused on the wrong things. So we have
Yeah.
got to get out of that mindset. Good moms don't take breaks. So let's stop here for a second because a lot of this comes from this really outdated view of what we saw our parents and our grandparents do. And if those of us who are fortunate to still have them in our lives understand, they weren't happy, they weren't satisfied, they
It looked
weren't
like they
fulfilled.
were.
Mammy was smiling too,
Ouch.
but we understand what was behind that smile, right?
Yeah.
And that's the expectation, right? You're smiling, you should be happy. We were having this conversation the other day in this training that I was doing, and somebody said, if I hear one more person say, but the sun is shining, why are you upset? Why are you depressed? Get out my face. It's this expectation that just because it could be worse, you could be
Uh,
this, that I'm just
yeah.
supposed to be tap dancing and bojangling over here. And it's no, I'm not feeling that today. And that's
Mhm.
because we saw our parents and our grandparents do it. I
Yeah.
have enough, I've had the benefit of having adult conversations with my aunts, my mom, and my grandma, and understanding now they were miserable, but they had to keep the family going. I was out there doing what he wanted to do, and we couldn't afford to do that too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had to smile because the whole point is to not crumble the house. I don't want Pop Pop to look bad, but I got to keep going. And the only way I can do that is to paste this fake smile on my face, to put on this mask and present myself to the world in this really specific way. And we have got to stop doing that for sure. Here's another hard one. I'm ruining my kids' childhood. What amazes me about being a parent, being an adult, being in this space is understanding the things that we think our kids remember are not necessarily the takeaways that they get from the event, right? This is
Mhm.
psychology 101. We're talking about learning, right? We're talking
Come on,
about
personality.
learning associations, right? And we're talking about learning through responses to certain actions. Sometimes the lesson you teach gets diluted by the way you deliver it or maybe
Mm.
in the thing that you're reinforcing, right? And so one of the things I look at with my mom is she reinforces idea in me that, and I remember her saying, no matter what, you have got to figure out how to run your house in a way where your husband doesn't know he isn't running it. And I remember her saying that to me. And I thought that's the ultimate goal, right? To be able to run this house in such a way that he don't even know he ain't running it. That is
Mm.
bullshit. Okay? That is crazy. What
Yeah.
you actually reinforced in me is this idea that I have to run it. because he's
Yeah.
not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
would I want a spouse
That won't
that
be
ain't
able
gonna
to.
do what? Look, I need him to give what he's supposed to have gave. And so it reinforced this idea of I can never depend on my husband. Even before I had a husband, you've
Yeah.
already reinforced this idea that don't trust him with everything. You still got to do it. It's on my chest because I got to run this house. And now I see how miserable my mom is. And now I see, and what's funny is like at this age, this is like last straw age. So all the years that these things have been happening, they've been building up. And now she's just at a place where I think she feels comfortable enough to articulate to us where she's just, this gets on my damn nerves. This is getting on my nerves or whatever. And we're like, but it's been that way all along. It's getting on my nerves now. It's always gotten on your nerves. You just sucked it up and put on that mammy smile and kept going. And so we have to be careful to even think that we're ruining our kids' childhood, because even in the moments when she thought she was doing good, that wasn't necessarily the memory that we had of it. And there's been certain situations where she thought, I did this good thing for y'all. We went and did this good experience. We had this thing. And me and my brother are like, we weren't happy that day though, because this happened. And in her mind, it was this great thing, but that wasn't the takeaway for us. And so we have to be realistic. We have to be careful, because sometimes what we think is good in our children's lives is not, and sometimes the things we think are bad are not. So we have to give ourselves a little bit of grace. We definitely do. Some of the science behind the lies we tell ourselves, right? So the mental load of motherhood and why we carry more guilt than dads is based off of how patriarchal our society is, right? Dads are expected to be disconnected, so much so that when we see a dad who is actually doing what a dad is supposed to do,
Yeah, that's
we feel like we
unusual.
have, listen, we have to give him kudos and we
Yes.
have to pat him on the back and we
Yes.
have to say, oh my gosh, look at
Yes.
you babysitting your kids. I'm sorry,
Doing their
babysitting these
hair.
children?
Doing their hair.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen. Me
Yeah.
and my when my son was in elementary school, we were those parents. If you call us, we're coming. If you tell us something, it don't sound right, you're gonna look up, we're gonna be staring in y'all face. And we would always go together because number one, we're a united front, but number two, I just don't know how to act when I don't have my husband with me.
You
So
really
he has to
don't.
be,
Oh my
listen,
God.
I have to tell you how I found that out the hard way one time at a parent teacher conference. But so we are a united front. And I will never forget, he had a Black assistant principal. And when we came in, she goes, look, y'all, it's the Obamas. And I was just like, what did you say? And she was like, y'all the Obamas. Y'all come in here and you're dressed like, and he comes and he drops him off every day and he picks him up. And I was like, he's supposed to.
Yeah.
And they were
Yeah.
making this big deal about him being present. And I remember just thinking first, and I told her, don't do that, Black girl. Don't do that. Let's normalize this. It has to be
Yeah.
normal. So we have to get out of this idea that dads are doing something so different, right? They're parenting just as much as we are. And so we have to quit. I don't want to quote stuff my mom says, but my mom used to say, you don't congratulate a fish for swimming. They're supposed to. And so we have to get out of this
Come on now.
mindset. We have to get out of this mindset of when our husbands do what husbands and dads are supposed to do, that we have to give them kudos or attaboys or give them their flowers. No, that's what you're supposed to do. We have to get out of that mindset. And then also looking at the role of perfectionism and anxiety in making our guilt worse, right? We know that anxiety is a forward facing emotion, right? We're typically anxious about things that haven't happened, right? And so sometimes we think, I'm not doing enough. I'm not enough. I'm not present enough. Am I going to hurt my kids in this way? Am I going to miss this thing? We're stressing about things that haven't even happened. And we have to understand that perfect does not exist for anyone. I would venture to say any mom would look their child in the face and give them the same pep talk and just say, you are okay as you are. You are enough. You are valid. What you do has value. And you would instill in them to not seek this level of perfectionism because it doesn't exist. And so all I'm saying is we just have to use that for ourselves. And it's hard to do, but we can do hard things, right? And we can
Yeah.
make conscious decisions to make shifts, knowing that the next generation is watching.
Yeah.
And so, especially you having a daughter, like I have a bonus daughter, but I'm not really, when I came into her life, she was older. And so I wasn't like really there for that day to day interaction. But I just would like to think that the lessons we teach our daughters would be better lessons that than we were taught, especially when I look at relationships in my family, especially on my maternal side of the family. There was a lot of trauma there. There was a level of abuse there, and we never knew about it. So we like glorified the abuser to a
Yeah.
certain degree because nobody knew it was happening. We didn't know it was happening. The elders knew. We didn't know, right? Now we're looking at our daughters and our granddaughters and our nieces, and we're like, this ain't cool. So we have to
Yeah.
be careful about what lessons we are giving our daughters for sure. For sure. I feel like I'm jeopardizing the conversation. Is there anything you want to add to this point, Flame? Or you just
Look,
want to keep it?
again, when this topic came up, I already knew that it was going to be a lesson to me
Mhm.
because I have mom guilt every day. I have mom guilt daily. And there are some things that I discovered about my daughter here lately that I missed. And mom guilt is all over. Mom guilt has reside. It is
Yeah.
here where it has reside. And so I'm trying to, it's hard to say, but you have so much else going on. That makes it even worse for me because of having so much other stuff going on. I missed it. Even when I thought that I was checking in, even when I thought that I was being a good mom, even when I thought that, oh, we got a great relationship, and we do, I missed it. I missed it. So that mom guilt weighs heavy. And there could be, going back, you said that it is self-induced. Yes, but when those moments come, I missed
So,
it.
but here's the thing, right? And this is funny. So in my upper level class, we were talking about this last week. We were actually talking about adolescence and children and independence and should parents, it started from this conversation of should parents have a say in who their children's friends are in the adolescent stage. And it led to this whole other conversation. But one of the things that the students were very forthcoming with is this idea that if there was something, even if they had a smother mother, a helicopter parent, a very, very like foot on my neck type of parent, if there was something that I wanted to do, I would find a way to get it done and hide it from my parent. And that's what we got to remember, right? Like you can have all the good intentions, you can have availability to your children can have very easy access to you. But if there's something they want to hide from you and do, they are going to do. And it has nothing to do with the type of parent you are. And I've shared this with you. Like my older son lives in the house with us, and he decided he wanted to go back to school at the school that we work at. And he did not ask me anything.
Yeah.
He didn't even tell me he wanted to go. He didn't ask my advice for anything. The only reason I found out is because he came and said, I need your social for my FAFSA." And I was like, "For what?"
Yeah.
That's how I found out. And when I started asking questions, it was like, "How dare you be in my business? I am an adult."
Okay.
But I was, for a brief moment before the anger kicked in, I was
Yeah,
hurt.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
hurt because and I told him, I said, "I literally teach where you want to go.
Work
And
there.
you didn't even think I should probably ask her a question. Does she know the teacher of this class? Is this a good Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Said nothing. And I had to tell him, I said, "Do you know part of my job is I advise students? Like students literally will book an appointment with me." I gotta stop saying literally.
They come
Will
to me,
book
they come to me.
and they say, "Hey, this
Yes.
is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. Is this a good path to get there?" And you know
Yeah.
what I do?
I advise.
I advise them and I guide them and I give them suggestions and data and research and all the things. And you're in the house, you could literally walk across the house and be like, "So this is what I'm thinking." And if I will
Right.
do that for them, I will do that for them. And at the end of the conversation, I will say, "Good luck to you. Let me know how it goes."
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
think I won't do that for you? Do you think for a moment that if you came to me and said, "This is what I'm thinking," I wouldn't stop everything I was doing and be like, "Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out." So you can only do
You're the
so much.
mom. You're the mom.
Because what do you
Yeah.
know? What do you
Yeah.
know? What do
Yeah.
you know? And to some degree, I remember feeling like that about my parents. "What's different? You don't understand this." And they're like, "No, we understand." I'm like, "You don't understand." They
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Just didn't think we could talk to them
Yeah.
about certain things, or we just thought these were different things they didn't know. So you
And
gotta
you're
get out.
absolutely right, because in the discovery, those words came out. I didn't want you to find out. I didn't want you to know. And yeah, that hurt. That hurt. And
But that's
so
part of childhood too, Kelly. You
yeah,
like, I know you were the PK, so you were the good girl. Look, you were the PK, the preacher's kid. I was the secretary, the church secretary's daughter,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
pretty up there.
Correct.
So I remember that same thing too. And if it was something that I didn't want her to be privy to, I figured out how to navigate that pretty easily. And my
Yeah.
mom was pretty foot on my neck. And I will say that my mom was very present. She was there. She was, who are you going to be with? Do I know them? Then you're not going if I don't know them. I need to talk to their parent. Girl, I can remember being 19.
Come on, 19.
A dude I went to middle school with, we end up crossing paths again as adults. We're 19, right? And he was trying to talk to me and he was like, you want to come over later, hang out, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And this was when like cell phones were just like coming out. Maybe, I don't even think I had a cell phone. I think I had a pager. Some
Oh, you
kind of
had
communication system I had where my mama sent out her bat signal and was like, you better call me back. Whatever it was at that. I can't remember if it was a pager or a cell
911.
phone, but it was, you better call me back. Because I had a curfew and I was
Yeah.
well within my curfew, but you still better call me back. And I
Yeah.
never forget, I asked him, I said, can I use the phone? And he lived with his brother and his brother's wife. So they're all adults in the house. And I will never forget when I got my mom on the phone, my mom is like, where are you at? And I was like, I'm at a friend's house. And she's, what friend? And I was like, a friend I went to school with. And she's like, who's at the house with y'all? And I was like, his brother and his girlfriend. And she's put someone on the phone. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, I want to speak to an adult in the house. And I was just like,
You're
what,
19.
what do you mean? And she was like, look, girl, let me tell you something. Somebody who pays some bills in that house better get on
Maybe.
this phone. And I was so embarrassed.
I
I had to
love it.
go to him and say, hey, because hanging up in her face was not an option.
No, of course not. Of
Could
course
not,
not.
could not act like the request was just null and void because I had to go home. And I remember
Absolutely.
I told him, I said, my mom wants to speak to someone. And he was like who? And I was like, an adult. And he was like, I'm an adult. And I was like, not
Right.
you. It can't be you. It needs to be someone else. And he's, my brother and his wife are asleep. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't matter. What we gonna do? And I remember he went in there and I remember seeing his face like from the side when
Yeah,
he went in
yeah.
the room and like told that, and they were like, what? And he was like, I know her mom wants to speak to someone. And so his brother's wife got on the phone like, hello? Yeah, answering questions. And then
Right.
finally she got off and they brought the phone back to me and she's like, okay, you better have your behind home by curfew.
That was it.
Suffice
That was
it
it.
to say, he
Yeah,
never
how long
spoke.
did that relationship
He
last?
never spoke to me again.
Yeah, yeah.
Not only
That's
was not
hard.
only and at that point it was okay, so what you finna do? And I was like, I guess I'm going home because I knew the night was over. Like we were literally were doing nothing. We were gonna watch a movie or
Yeah,
something. And
yeah,
he was
yeah.
just like, yeah, I'm good. You can miss me with that. And I was like, okay, look, I apologize for wasting your time, sir.
Touche, touche.
And I had to leave. And that's the kind of mom I had.
Yeah, yeah,
And I still found a way
yeah,
to
yeah,
put things below her level of awareness.
yeah.
Yeah. So all that to say, if they don't want you to know,
Yeah.
you're not gonna know.
That doesn't help at all. Yeah, that doesn't help.
But see,
That,
and
yeah,
here's the thing, right? You got to be realistic. And again, the idea that this mom guilt is real for you, it's self-imposed. So if you want mom guilt to go away, then you have to make it go away. You got to do the work. It's not just gonna fall away because you're just like, you know what, it's not real. Yeah. You have to say, you know what, Kelly, I want to make a conscious decision to not feel guilty about doing the best that I can. And
yeah,
once you start putting the work in, it'll get better. But if you're not ready to do that, then sit in your guilt. It's
yeah.
fine.
I'm trying again. This podcast is one I was waiting on for sure. I knew that this would definitely fall under your realm of
Mhm.
expertise. Hey, this is good. This is good.
But here,
What is that?
but here, in my realm of expertise as a mom who gets it wrong, not as Dr. Lil or not
Yeah,
as a teacher, as a
yeah,
mom who drops the ball all the time and
yeah,
understands I can only do what I can do. There are 24
yeah,
hours in a day. I'm not going to catch it all, which is why partnerships matter, support groups matter, support systems matter, because there are things that I can't always do. And that's why I have a husband who has to pick up that slack. That's why my son has an older brother. We have grandparents. Like we have to have a village because you can't do it all. And you shouldn't want to do it all. So, how do we ditch the mom guilt? First, we have to understand this idea of letting go of perfection because good enough is good enough.
yeah,
Just that simple. You can only do what you can do, period. Full stop, full stop. So, we have to let go of perfection. We also have to prioritize self care without the guilt. And here's the easiest way that I've found to implement self care, because self care can look like a lot of different things for a lot of different people. So if you're struggling trying to figure out what's the easiest self care that I can do that costs me nothing, but will get me started in a good direction, is you can set boundaries. Just set some parameters around your peace, around your space, around yourself. One of the easiest ways to do that is by saying no. That
yeah,
is a full sentence. There is no quantifier or qualifier needed to go with that. Sometimes the answer is just going to be no. And that's okay. And so I took a class last week, and that's one of the things we were talking about was like, what does self-care look like on your job? And I was in your occupation and I was writing this list, and self-care on my job looks like setting boundaries. It looks like I cannot be on every committee. I will not be on every committee. I do
yeah,
not take glory in this idea that I can do it. I can do it.
yeah.
No, I cannot. Because not
Mm.
only can I not do it, I don't want to do it.
Don't
And
want to. That's a big one. That's a big one.
And that's the self-care. I say
Yeah,
no. Because here's
yeah,
the thing, this is gonna look good on your CV. It will, won't it? Okay, I'll get it some other way. This isn't
right,
the thing. I'll be fine. I'll be
right.
fine. I've done enough more awesome stuff where
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
And I had to learn the hard way that this idea of I want to be on every committee and do everything. So when an opportunity comes up, they'll think of me. If they're not
Mm,
going to think of you, they're not going to think of you anyway.
yeah,
I
regardless.
did
Yeah,
all the work. I had the stuff on my CV and I still got overlooked for positions because it just wasn't for me and they didn't want me anyway. So
yeah,
me putting myself out there was not going to make it better. Also, asking for help. Delegation is not weakness. Let me say that again. Delegation is not weakness. Asking for help takes more strength than being overwhelmed and crumbling. And I'm going to share like a really
that's shade for those
vulnerable
of
moment
you
for
who
me. You said what?
that was shade, but for those of you who don't know.
Girl. I'm going to share a vulnerable moment I had as a mom. This happened to me during COVID. I was in this place, and me and another friend of mine, and one of my friends actually did her dissertation on work life balance and mom guilt because she was really struggling with it. She was struggling. I remember the day she had her last child and she came back to work. And you have one of those slow motion moments where something's happening, but you don't realize like all the things until it's like, wait, what? And I
Uh-huh.
remember I was walking through the building and I was looking, and I was like, oh, that lady, why should she hit the wall? Oh, she's flying down the wall. That's my damn friend. Girl, and I like ran over there and I was like, and she was like
Oh,
boo-hooing. And so this was the first day that she had to take her child to a
no.
babysitter. She was nursing and she had to come to work and she made it in the building. And I
Woo!
literally saw her
I
just like
remember those
wobbling to the
days.
wall,
Woo! I remember those
honey.
days 3
She got
times.
back.
Yeah,
Listen, and I never
yeah,
forget. We had a mutual friend whose office was like right around the corner. And when I tell you, I heisted my friend up and I drug her around that corner. And we went in that office and we shut the door and we
yeah,
was pouring into her. We prayed over her. We wiped her face. We was like, call your baby, check on it, all the things to try to get her in this place. And she still ended up not being in a good place, but
right.
she bought herself a little bit more time. She was just like, I just gotta go check on her one more time. We're like, go check on her one more time.
Yeah,
And so that was the thing. But when COVID, so she and we were, I have never had mom guilt to that level, but I had a lot of mom remorse and guilt, especially during the period of my life when I was a single mom. And I
mhm,
just did
mhm,
not have a network. I did not have support. I did not have help. And so I sacrificed my son, and I'll admit that it was a mistake, but I sacrificed him. And I always thought if I just go to school and get this degree, then I'll get this job and then I'll have time. if I just get this and I'm able to elevate to this level, then I'll have money and then I'll have access.
Yeah.
And so I just thought if I worked a little bit harder, if I didn't go right now, if I didn't go to field day today, if I missed the honor ceremony today,
Mm,
I'll eventually get to a point where I can be present for all these things. It'll pay off in the end because the American dream was if you want a better job, you go back to school and you get the degree, then you'll get the better job. And I was on this hamster wheel and I was running my heart out, just trying to obtain this thing. And she and I were like at this point right before COVID hit. And I remember she and I had a conversation and we were like, I need to stop. Like I'm on this wheel and I'm running, but I can tell I'm tired. I can tell I'm burnt out. I need a minute. I can't catch my breath. And COVID hit. And
yeah.
COVID was a full stop, hamster wheel stopped moment, right?
Yeah.
And so I had some time where I could work.
Unexpected blessing. That's what
It really
I would
was.
always call it.
It
That's what I
really
would
was.
always call it. Yeah.
And I don't want to negate the other side of that because for
Yes.
some people it was hella
Yes.
harmful, it
Yes.
was
Yes.
traumatic, it
Absolutely.
changed lives in a lot of ways. For me, it
Absolutely.
was a blessing
It
because it
was.
forced me to
To
stop.
stop. Yeah.
And I remember getting to work from home and I had both my boys here. My oldest was a senior in high school during that time.
Yeah.
And that's when it punched me in my face. That's when it broke my heart because I realized I won't have another field day.
Yeah.
I don't
Mhm.
get another ring ceremony. I don't get another honors day. I don't get another come have lunch with your kids. I
Yeah.
miss them all.
Yeah.
And I remember just feeling like a horrible mom. I literally had to come to terms with the fact that I sacrificed my kid for something that I never got. And I just
Mm.
kept telling him it'll come and it never came.
Never came.
Also in that, I realized how my family was sacrificing so much to allow me to walk in my dreams because my younger son, we really grew up together.
Yeah.
And so he was with me through every bad decision, every academic journey that I went on, he was there with me. Excuse me. My younger son was only present during my last academic journey. And I was looking at how it was impacting him because he was now getting trained where like on Sunday was my work day. They knew
Mm. Yeah.
can't do
Yeah.
nothing. Dad's got y'all. And so like on the weekend we get up and he like, you gonna go work on your dissertation? And I was like, yeah, mommy's gotta do a paper. You gotta do a paper? Yeah, I gotta go do a paper. And that was all he knew
Yeah.
for the first 6 years of his life. And COVID really punched me in the face and showed me that I was doing parenting wrong. Like I really was doing it wrong. I was sacrificing the wrong things. My heart was in the right place, but what was I doing? Because
Yeah.
now I don't get to make that time up. And
Yeah.
so for me, that was a moment to say, and I remember I got my family together and I was crying and I was just like, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I messed up. I apologize. I stole from y'all. I didn't mean to. I honestly thought I was going to get a better job. I honestly thought we would be in a better financial situation. I honestly thought that if I made it to this level that I would have flexibility that would allow
Mm.
me to be more present in these things and it never happened. And I
Yeah.
can't get that time back. And so that's one of my mothering regrets. Really hard regret for me, but I had to understand it's okay to ask for help. And delegating things wasn't a sign of weakness. It was actually a strength for me because I got it, I could do it. No, I'll handle it. Don't worry about it. Just sit down. And the next thing you know, everything fell. And so I had to lean more on my husband and I had to lean more on my parents. Lord help me. But I had to start saying, when people like, you need something, I'd be like, yeah, I sure do. What you need? Can you just bring them a bucket of chicken? Because
Yeah.
I don't know who ate today. I'm not really sure. I'm up here doing this thing. And every now and then my mom be like, let me just come get the boys. Every now and then she just come get them, right? Or my husband or my in-laws they would just take the kids out, do something with them, give me a little bit of a break, give me some space and help. So I had to learn delegation wasn't weakness. Also rewiring my brain to understand guilt wasn't real. It wasn't real. I can't do it all. For a lot of women, we consider it a badge of honor to wear the S on our chest. But we have to understand, and now I've changed my thinking. Talking to my friend about her research, we are two who, if you say you superwoman, you might as well. Did you just cuss at me? I'm not a damn superwoman. And I do not find that a compliment for you to tell me that I am a superwoman because I cannot do it all and I'm not going to do it all. And I refuse to try to do it all. It's just unrealistic. So we have to rewire our brain. And the way we rewire our brain is through a mindset shift. And it's something as simple as giving yourself an affirmation every day and just saying, what I'm doing is enough, right? Putting no in place, setting boundaries and keeping them. So we have to really reprogram our brain. Another thing we don't do as moms is celebrate our wins. When is the last time when you was just like, I'll tell you one. I shared this with you. I probably shouldn't even say this on the podcast.
Oh my gosh.
My kids might hate me, but girl, I remember, I'm not going to say that, but my kids will be mad. Celebrating wins could be something as simple as, so my younger son, like he's really all I got. I'm just saying, he's just all I got. That older one, I don't know. But my younger son, he's all I got, right? And so we have this really good relationship, and some of the wins that I count, and sometimes we do take them for granted because like he's so loving. He's a Sour
Mhm,
Patch Kid. He's
mhm.
either gonna cut your neck or he's gonna love you long time. There ain't no
Yeah.
happy middle.
Yeah.
And the fact that he will still come in and just say, I love you, mom. Or like when we got ready to record, he's like, tell Miss Kelly I said, hey, and he's do good. And the fact that he's like rooting for me, that's a
Mhm.
mom win for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes like I went to the grocery store yesterday and I was like, I'm gonna make sure they have some food. And I don't know who's gonna cook the food, but we got food in the house. We don't have to go. Let me tell you something. Me and my husband were talking last week. I had brought home something and I just looked at him and I said, if it wasn't for damn chicken, where would we be? He was like
Where?
dead. Because when I tell you a chicken don't stand a chance in the Williams household, okay?
Mine, mine
Let me
either.
tell you
Mine
something. Fried, dyed, laid to the side, sauteed,
stewed,
baked. Listen,
old.
listen. Air fryer.
Yes,
It's
amen
right.
to the
You
air
know how
fryer.
look. You know how I feel about copy and paste.
Yeah.
It's right up there next to copy and paste. Greatest invention ever created. Because when I tell you I can buy them frozen whatevers.
Done in minutes.
Look, today when one of the missions me and the young one are on today is we're going to the Tree of Dollar because we're going to buy him his own little
Mm-mm.
pans.
Tree of dollar quarter.
Touche, touche. Because I bought him artisanal flatbread yesterday and pizza sauce and mozzarella. And so
Mm-hmm.
we're going to teach him how to bake his own pizza in the air fryer. So
Yes.
we have to
Yes.
go get him the metal pans from the dollar quarter tree.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, so he was like, we're going, we gotta go. I want to get so that's our thing today. I'm gonna try to do a little bit.
Yeah, good luck with that. Look,
Listen,
I'm still at the what are we gonna eat stage. Hey, it's great.
girl.
It's great. It's great. It's great. It's great.
Something happened. We
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes you laugh, sometimes you cry. Life never tells us the wins or why. It's one of those things. All right. This is going to be a little bit a call to action for interaction from you as the audience. So share
Yes.
with us what's one thing you're not going to feel guilty about anymore in
Mm,
terms of your mom life.
yes.
So one thing, and I'm gonna ask you this too, Kelly. So be thinking about it. One thing that
Okay.
I'm not gonna be guilty about anymore is here's the thing. I have shifted so much. I don't feel guilty about anything anymore. And that maybe that's my problem because I have a very loving and accommodating husband. And he always tells me you can only do the best you can. And I'll go to him and be like, the other day I had a mom fail because something really was hurtful to my son and I didn't pick up on how hurtful it was in the moment.
Mhm,
By the
mhm.
time I realized it was that hurtful to him, I think he was okay, but it hurt me because I was just like, I was right there, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And my husband was like, you can only do the best you can do. I was present, he wasn't alone, but I just didn't, I fell asleep. I was tired and the tired took me over. And when I heard a noise, I woke up and I saw the heartbreak and I was just like, oh my God, I missed it. What happened?
Mhm.
But I don't feel guilty about it because I was tired and I was present. I was right next to him. I was able to get there when I could. My husband was here supporting. So I don't feel guilty about things anymore, which may be a detriment, but I do the best I can. What about you? What's something you're committed to not feeling guilty about?
Again, like I said, it's just so much. But and I think about those, because you say that you have a wonderful partner, you have those who don't have that. What do? I have a wonderful partner, but my partner is not in the home with me any longer. And so what would have been where we used to be able to tag team, no longer able to do. You think about single parents, you think about widowers, or those that are in the home by themselves but still have responsibility with children, or whatever that case may be. Think about that. And so this question for them, for us, may be a little challenging. But I will say, when my kids were little, my boys, I'll say that when my boys were little or younger, I cooked 4 or 5 times a week. I'm sorry, 4 times. We had Sunday big dinner. I prepared, laid stuff out. I did the nines. And now that things have shifted for me, I DoorDash everything. Is that great? No.
I'm gonna tell you
But
something.
I have gotten to the point where I don't feel guilty about not pulling out a pan.
That's
Now, yes,
fine.
it's going to be extra money, and we may eat bologna sandwiches at the end of the month until that next check comes, but I am not. I don't have the bandwidth. We love to say that word. Don't have the bandwidth to even do that. So I will say that I am going to continue to not feel guilty about that. Now, I
Yeah.
have gotten the strength, I've gotten some energy where I am a little motivated, and I'll do a burn here or there, but
Yeah.
it's not like I did. And I did not think that I would not feel guilty about that, because of course eating home is healthier, but now I do try to make some healthy choices as we eat. So I try to make sure it is still a home cooked meal. Somebody else gonna cook it, but it's gonna be some meat, it's gonna be some vegetables, it's gonna be some starch, some bread. But yeah, that I will say that is one thing, but that's one of few that I probably still on the other side of that still feel guilty about. So yeah, I'll give you
Let me
that
tell
one.
you something. My grandmama say, full ain't number full.
These pearls of wisdom, I tell you.
Girl, you know what? I said I was gonna. I told my
You
brother
did.
we need to write a book because my dad. We said we were gonna write a book called Big Druisms because my daddy be saying stuff and you be like, "What
What?
does that
I gotta look it up.
mean?" Girl, some of his little pearls and some
Yeah.
of them I just understand as an adult now because of course they weren't explaining stuff to us when we were kids. But I
Of
had
course.
something happen the other day. I was like, "That's what that
That's
meant."
what that
Oh
meant.
my God, he was calling you stupid back then. Didn't know. Didn't know. Okay,
All right.
so
So let's get some final thoughts. Let's
yeah,
kind of
some final
final.
thoughts. So think about a piece of advice you give your past self about mom get guilt. And so
Mhm.
again, celebrate a win and appreciate how far you've come. Because I know I was that mom you were talking about, that single mom that didn't have a support system, that didn't have help. And I know for a fact I am nowhere near
Yeah.
that bad of a parent anymore.
Yeah.
I have grown a lot, I have matured a lot, and now I have help. So I know
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot better in my decisions now. And then think about the things we can let go of, right? Like Kelly said, they eating. And I would say your kids are probably happier than mine. Cause let me tell you something. When I do cook something, I get mad. Don't let me come in here and cook it. You think you're not gonna eat. Because everybody needs to stop immediately and come eat because I cook. So your kids are probably happier than mine. They're probably happy with their wing stop and their Chipotle. Because
Mm,
my kids are like, we eating
child.
spaghetti again? Yes, you eating spaghetti again. Go eat it. Listen. So I think you're doing fine.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you're
Hey,
doing fine.
that's all we got.
So
All we got.
that's all we got. Listeners, so share with us what was your funniest or most unnecessary moment of mom guilt?
Yes.
Let
Please
us
do.
know. Or do you have a win you want to share with us? Do you have some advice to help another mom who's given
Look,
themselves this
please help me. Help me. I'm that
child?
other mom.
You're gonna be all right, girl.
Okay.
Look, you'll be fine if you just listen to me.
Mm.
But
Oh,
but share with us your wins, share with us your mom fails. And hell, sometimes we just have a mom fail, right? I can remember when My younger one was little. We have a pocket door. And let me tell you something, his pain tolerance is abnormal. So let me just say that. Okay. But I remember he had this habit. He would just follow me around everywhere I went. And so one day I went in the bathroom and I didn't see him and I slid the door closed and did not realize I caught his finger. And bless his heart, he just stood there till I finished using the bathroom and opened the door back. And I was just like, "What are you doing?" He was like,
Said
"Oh," he,
nothing.
he said nothing. And he was just like, "Oh, my finger was in the door." And I was just like, "Oh my God," he's like, "It's fine." And then he just like bebopped off. And then I promise you, like 2 days later, my husband was like, "Where's his fingernail?" And I was like, "What?" Whole nail was gone, girl. Whole nail. And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And I told my husband about it. He was like, "You didn't realize it?" I was like, "No, he said he was fine. He ran off and played. I didn't know." Because he didn't act hurt. So I didn't think I needed to look. Whole
Oh
nail
my
was gone. So it happens. It happens. So, yep.
oh,
Share your
goodness.
stories with us. We would love to hear your stories. We would love to read some, maybe on a future podcast as well. So, share your triumphs, share your failures, share your tips for how other moms who are struggling with mom guilt can start to let go of that guilt. Um,
Absolutely.
Anything you want to add, friend? I feel like I
Yeah.
jeopardized the whole show today.
Look,
So, I
please, I'm telling you, when we came up with this topic, we knew that it was going to be on you because, yes, I needed
by
to be the
we mean
listener.
you. By
That would be
we,
me.
she means
That would be
her.
me. That would be me.
So,
That would be me. No, but if you enjoyed this, please hit subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend, tell a family, and tell a foe because we are going
that's
to
our thing now.
continue.
Tell your
Yes,
folks.
honey,
Tell
tell
your
your
folks.
foes. Tell your foes because we need them too. But yes, we
Absolutely.
are going to continue this ride at
Mhm.
Mike's Moms and Mayhem. Follow us on social media. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. And I tell you, like I said it before, when I learned you TikTok, we'll be on TikTok too. But wherever you can listen to a podcast, that is where we will be. Email us info@mikesmomsmayhem.com. And you can also visit our website to listen to our podcast and all the future podcasts. It is at www.mikesmomsmayhem.com. All right. So until next time, I am Kelly.
And I'm Lillian.
Keep the mics loud, the mom life real, and embrace the
The
mayhem.
man.
See ya.
Bye.